Turning to Senate Resolution 91 on page 20, the junior senator from Richmond City, Senator Morrissey.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we took a break, Mr. President, I made a point of parliamentary inquiry, and I asked specifically if when we vote on censure, we are to consider the four corners of the SR 91, SR 91, or are we allowed to go outside of that? It was at that point that we took a break and you've caucused. Could you provide me with an answer?
Yes, Senator. And the answer to that question is that the senators will consider only the resolution in the four corners of the document and not any additional arguments or claims that were made during debate or otherwise.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, point of parliamentary inquiry.
Senator, has the floor.
With regard and with respect to SR 91, there are 8 specific points in there calling for censure. Will we be casting 8 votes on each of the 8 points, or will there only be 1 vote for censure?
There will only be 1 vote for censure. So you either vote the resolution yay or nay. It will not be on each one of the individual counts or charges contained in the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, speaking to the measure.
Senator, has the floor.
Folks, I have only been in the Senate for a minuscule amount of time compared to some of the veterans that have been in here. But one thing that has been driven into my brain over and over again, particularly from the gentleman from James City County, is that we follow rules and decorum and tradition. And that's very important. Accordingly, years from now, 50 or 60 years from now, people will look at what we're doing now and they will dissect whether or not we got it correct, whether we followed a proper process. So let me tell you how we got here right now. Initially, there was a motion for censure that involved almost entirely items that I considered free speech or for protected speech. And our caucus met, and to say that we had a knockdown, drag-out fight over it wouldn't be too far from the truth. At the end of that day, though, the gentleman from Loudoun and others agreed that we were going to enunciate those, with specificity, those points that the senior senator from Chesterfield did that warranted censure. And he did that. And then in one of what I thought was one of the most statesman-like gestures, the gentleman from Loudoun approached the senior senator from Chesterfield and said the following: if you apologize for the comments, if you denounce certain behavior, I am going to withdraw it. Thereafter, I spoke and I laid out specifically what points the senior senator from Chesterfield needed to apologize for. And it had to be an unconditional apology. I also said that the hurt that was brought to one senator saying that she participated in a riot was extremely hurtful and painful. She had to apologize to that and had to denounce certain groups. And unfortunately, that didn't occur, because this matter would have been over right then. One of my colleagues referred to it as an appalling unapology. It's not too far off the mark. And then we came back here and we now have this motion before us, SR 91, and I will say right now, there are points in here that warrant censure. But there's others that don't. Item number 4, and I'm not going to comment on those things that occurred before I became into the Senate. Wasn't here, I only heard of those incidents through hearsay and through innuendo. So I don't feel comfortable commenting on them. But number 4, the senior senator from Chesterfield County decried, quote, identity politics And she made the point that a fellow senator who's now running for governor and is the vice chair of the Legislative Black Caucus is not for all Virginians. Well, let's be very clear. Senator McClellan, who is running for governor and who is the vice chair, is for all Virginians. We all know that. She's a different party, and if elected governor, she will serve all Virginians. And that was wrong and hurtful for the senior senator from Chesterfield County to say, but it was protected. Protected speech. Senior senator from Chesterfield County then said, quote, "I don't do COVID." I'm not quite sure what that means, but it's not censorable. It's her speech. She then said that she reiterated baseless claims that the 2020 election was stolen. I think almost everybody in this body would agree that it wasn't stolen, but she is protected in saying that. And that's not censorable. Then we get to number 8. And that was the point that I asked the senator to give an unconditional apology. And that was this. And this is what is censorable. The senator called the group of people that participated in the January 6, 2021 rally patriots. And I asked her to denounce those people who were white supremacists and participated in that January 6th event. I asked her to denounce those individuals that wore jerseys and t-shirts emblazoned with the slogan, 6 million dead Jews is not enough. And I asked her to denounce those people that she called patriots that stormed the Capitol, breached the police lines, broke into the Capitol, went past police officers and engaged in such behavior that it actually resulted in multiple deaths. And when I sat down, I was absolutely convinced that in 30 seconds she would denounce those groups, deliver an unequivocal apology to this senator from Portsmouth, and it didn't happen. And when I studied what is censorable, I am convinced that her failure to apologize and to denounce that is censorable. And if we vote today, I will vote to censor based on that point. My penultimate point, Mr. President. Many people from the opposite party of mine, the Republican Party today, have spoken forcefully. And at the end, they said, but I'm not going to vote. I don't understand that. SR 91 expresses the censure of the Senate. If you don't vote, you are necessarily voting not to censure. Make no mistake about that. If you don't vote, you are voting not to censure. And I don't think that's appropriate. We are paid that whopping $18,000 a year to make hard decisions and make hard votes. So, with that said, and let me be clear that if we vote today, I will vote for censure. I now ask my last question involving parliamentary inquiry, Mr. President. And that is, based on the comments from my colleague, the senator from Bedford, regarding sending this to P&E, I would ask the President of the Senate, you, Mr. President, whether or not SR 91 is properly before this body.
Thank the senator. With regard to the question and the parliamentary inquiry as to whether or not SR 91 is properly before the Senate, and in light of the arguments were previously made by the senator from Bedford, Senator Newman, about the conflict with Senate Rule 53B, which requires that the Privileges and Election Committee consider the matter with regard to censure, that it conducts such hearings as it shall deem necessary, and that in all cases it shall report its determination of the matter together with its recommendations and reasons for its resolve to the Senate. And in light of the Senator from Bedford, Senator Newman's argument that each of the matters contained in the censure resolution must be investigated, that the facts must be established, and that the conclusions and the resolutions of the Privileges and Elections Committee must then be reported out to the Senate as a whole. The chair rules that Senate Resolution 91 is not properly before the body. For what purpose does the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw, rise?
Mr. President, certainly no disrespect, I would like to appeal the ruling of the chair.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the ruling of the chair be sustained? And to orient everyone to make sure that we're clear, an aye vote would uphold the ruling that SR 91 is not properly before the Senate. A no vote would reverse the ruling and say that SR 91 is properly before the Senate. So the question is, shall the ruling of the chair be sustained? All in favor of the motion will please record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote?
Senator Vogel, how do you vote?
Senator Vogel votes aye.
The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 8, noes 29.
Ayes 8, noes 29. The ruling of the chair is not sustained. For what purpose does the senior senator from Fairfax, Senator Saslaw, rise?
I was listening to the remarks of Senator Morrissey. Looking at number 6 of SR 91, she didn't just say the election was stolen. She says, we're at war. The Democratic Party has hijacked our presidential election, and this is the worst part, and committed treason. That's a little different than just simply saying the election was stolen. And I just wanted to bring that to the attention of everybody in here. Just speaking briefly to this.
Senators, the floor.
You know, there have been, I'm just going to take a guess, in the years that I've been here, probably 500 to 1,000 people have come and gone. And we have never, ever had anybody that, to the best of my knowledge, has even come close to creating the problems that we've seen from the senior senator from Chesterfield. No one has even come remotely close. And while we don't lay out exactly what is proper conduct for a senator, as a senator from Loudoun had remarked, it pretty much goes to, I guess, what Potter Stewart said. He couldn't define pornography, but he knew it when he saw it. And I think everybody in here knows that this resolution is here for a reason, and it's certainly, and I can't emphasize that enough, it's plenty reason enough. And the conduct, the acts of the senior senator from Chesterfield definitely merited this. And I would hope, to say that, what she did was reprehensible, this and that, and then not vote. To me, as was pointed out by Senator Morrissey, you're voting against censure. You're just not putting it up on the board. So anyway, I would hope that we would vote to approve Senate Resolution 91, Mr. President.